So this is during the premiere. Be starting very soon.
Let you cut me open just to watch me play. Came up who I am for who you wanted me to be. Don't know why I'm open to what I want to say.
Yeah! Oh, she's got that high sheen, gritty sound. It fits perfectly with the music. Females, they can get that grit and not use as high of a constriction. Like Chester has this fry scream high sort of constriction. She can use a broader constriction, torturous sounding grit. Hey! And because of the vocal disposition, because of the natural tone of her voice, it still fills that space so well. Whereas a male doing her exact technique right now would be too thick, too meaty. I just say I love Mike's energy. I love it.
I wanna heal, I wanna feel what I thought was never real. I wanna let go of the pain I felt so long.
Her voice over that melody, it still sounds a bit low for her, even though they raised it up.
Because we were changing the keys
Yeah.
to get into your range.
And then I was do this to scream, to cover my
She was screaming into like a pillow or into her shirt.
She's getting the grit, but it's almost like the grit is being laid over a part of her voice that still isn't fully opened because of where it's lying in her range. What are you going to do other than change the key or change the melody? She's got a wonderful tone, wonderful disposition to her voice. I love it. I love that it doesn't sound like they're using pitch correction either. There's things that are a little sharp here and there, especially as she adds grit. And that adds to a nice level of volatility and vulnerability there. I hate it when people pitch correct live. Yeah, so her going up there, that I'm kind of sad she put the mic out to the crowd for that one particular section where there's going up to that note, because that was an opportunity for her to really open up. She did it in the second phrase. That was really nice how she shaped that long. The effects they've got on her voice are really letting it sit in that mix nicely, and the tone shaping she's doing it really is sounding nice. Maybe it was my ears, took me a bit to adjust. Could also be that she really was working her way into being comfortable with that area over this song, even in the midst of this, even though they've rehearsed a bunch.
This is Emily. And in the role of Chester Bennington this afternoon is each of you.
Oh man.
Are you ready to sing with us?
Oh, that was awesome. I could not have been said any better. Wow. What a cool place to place Emily, too, in this whole thing. It's not even her role. Oh, that was awesome. Oh, that sounded awesome. Oh, she's killing it. Rio is helping her voice really bell out as opposed to real. Oh, she closed that with the grit is so cool. I've done lots of videos on this channel on this style of distortion. I'm not going to muck up this video right now showing you a bunch of stuff, but I do get so excited when I hear someone using these types of things. Check out all my other videos on the channel if you're interested in learning more. That was a beautiful descent there. Beautiful. See, in this context, I love that they're giving the audience so much opportunity to sing.
Confusing what is real. Crawling in my sky.
Some notes are clean. Some notes are distorted, and some are totally roasted. Being dynamic with how you add your grit is key to longevity. It's key to even getting through a song. You don't want to try to layer distortion over your voice, and it should be something that's layered over your voice. You don't want it to be a constant thing. You want it to be a dynamic thing where you're turning it up and down. It's a gain knob. It's not a switch. And she's doing an amazing job of doing that. And that's why, one of the reasons why she can be so gritty and awesome and then clean it up and it sounds great. It's a healthy dynamic. It's a healthy process that she is executing here. Did you hear that sigh? If you listen, really good singers do that all the time. They're dumping breath, they're sighing. It's not something that they're necessarily thinking about, but the fact that they have enough air supply to do so shows that they're operating out of an abundance of resources with their voice. So they're not singing with tension. They're fully immersed in the moment in which they're a part of. Good singers sigh. I just had a friend text me that their partner is at this show. Like, what?
I'm just trying to bend the truth. I can't pretend I'm who you want.
Eek, that's true. That's low for a female. And she got the character right.
I'm just trying to bend the truth. I can't pretend
Yeah.
I'm who you want me to be, so I'm lying my way from I wanna be pushed aside, so let me go. No turning.
Oh, did you hear that little crack? That was so awesome. She's really falling into it now. Listen to this.
Be pushed aside, so let me go. No turning.
That vulnerability, this shows she's using this broader, more intense engagement, cracking into her head voice there. This is a chesty scream. It's so cool to hear this and for a singer to lean into it and keep going. Most vocalists, when they try to even get to this level of intensity, if they feel like their voice might start to crack, they go, oops, and then the moment is gone. They can't embrace that intensity and that vulnerability that happens as a result of the intensity. But she's doing that.
The very worst part of you is me.
Yeah, now she's getting that grit even at the lower notes there. And it's perfect. It sounds great. It sounds great. It sounds different, but it sounds great. Lying. Now that's awfully low. And we can start to get this coordination in our own voice if we're interested. Lying. By sighing a bit, not necessarily holding back air. And that's not what you hear her doing here either. It's not lying. It's not that sound. It's there's a desperation to it. Lying. This is easier to get a more desperate sounding low grit than going lying. That sounds too upfront. That's how she's getting this sound. And that carries up to her desperation that she has higher in her voice.
The very worst part of you. The very worst part of you.
Yeah, now that was a wonderful, wonderful upper constricted fry scream. Now notice how that scream teeters on her head voice instead of teetering on her chest voice, like she was when she was lower. It's a different constriction, it's a different technique, different use of air, different coordination. That high scream that we heard her do is more like what Chester does because it's in that area where he can base his screams more off of his head voice and be less chesty. Oh, yeah. Oh. Yeah, she's getting those low notes really well. That's wonderful to hear.
Can't be outfought, can't be outdone,
They blend well together. Mike's got that huskier, not hoarse, but there is that sort of air to his voice. And she, unless she's using grit, has a very like well-closed, not airy sound. And then, of course, that male-female blend is cool. That's also why Chester and Mike blended so well, is because Chester filled out the harmonic spectrum that Mike didn't have. They complement each other. There's a similar blend here. I can totally hear why she's doing what she's doing for this band.
Transmissions echoing.
What?
Transmissions echoing. Where oceans bleed into the sky.
Wait. Like doing this at the, things happen like that live for lots of reasons. It could be that she was so intent on getting the audience to react, and her mind was getting ahead of her voice too much, and so she didn't have the placement, the posture necessary, and that's why her voice cracked. She's clearly not fried for the night, and you heard her come in really strong. So just because you miss a note or there's a hiccup here and there, like she's dealing with it, and it's what a pro. But it's interesting to think about your head getting before your voice, before your body. And that's why this hiccup happens. Beautiful. So very clearly, that momentary lapse of vocal coordination was very temporary. She's not damaged. She's not fried. The end of the world is not here. This is so important for anybody who's a vocalist or performer to keep in mind. Pick up, keep going. Unless something really feels off, which clearly it did not. Now, I realize that there's different notes happening here, but listen to the extra timbre and sheen and, of course, grit that Emily puts on her voice as she goes up there. It's more than just singing different notes. It's a very different disposition. And even on that L, it's not lift me up, it's lift me up. She's phonating before she opens the L. Lift, opens into the I. Lift, lift. And then gritting the entrance of that L. That has to be practiced. Those different flavors of arcing a word and arcing a phrase. You have to be intentional about that as you're getting your vocal chops in order for that stuff to come out so naturally in a live setting like this. It's beautiful, and it diversifies her presence here in this moment in a very intentional way, even though it's happening from muscle memory for her right now. Because you can hear Mike in the background. He's just lift me up, let me go. Lift me up. She's anticipating that line with her vocal posture. So cool. I love what she's doing there. We've got this belted entrance to the note. And then she trails off into a head voice sort of sound. Listen. I'm really exaggerating it, but it's not just love. Yeah. this emotional component that she's dealing with too, that, wow, this is really a surreal thing. Singing these songs in this context with the acceptance and support of this band. Yeah, yeah. Oh. Oh, I gotta see that again. Earlier, there's this sense of like, oh, you know, she's going for grit and her voice kind of glitched. I wonder, just sort of going back on, if I were to watch that again, in this context, what I would think. I think it's all emotional. It's how she cleaned up the end. It's just so beautiful. I am super excited to hear what she, hearing her open up in those higher screams. I'm really excited to see how they utilize her voice. We're only getting part of the picture from her right now because she's stepping into something that was, all these things were written for a particular voice. She could really shine. Did you hear that? Sighing into that? Beautiful. Beautiful. I commented on this earlier, but she has a very beautiful way of descending, where she comes down from this energy with her more screamy voice and more aggressive disposition. And then, I mean, Chester did that so well too, didn't he? She's got her own unique way of doing it, and I love it. Tough songs to sing, tough textures to do. She's doing great. Wow. Wow. Oh, her coordination down there is really awesome. Okay.
Shut up when I'm talking to you! Shut up! Shut up! Shut up! Shut up when I'm talking to you! Shut up!
I was hoping she would do that. She's choosing a pitch basis that is conducive to her getting that intensity out of her voice.
Shut up! Shut up!
Yes.
Shut up when I'm talking to you! Shut up!
Brings it down there. Shut up when I'm talking to you. This is still scream singing, or sing screaming, like Chester did so incredibly well. But she's doing it in her own way and playing with the positions in her voice that get the intensity she needs. Oh, she captured that line really well on Face. There's this sort of sheeny grit, even though we hear the note as clean, and then she grits it up in the lower area. That's amazing. She's demonstrating what a great vocalist does, and that you don't need to have the highest, most powerful note in order to get grit. She's proving the inverse of that you can add grit if you're doing it healthily, and you're adding it over the top of your clean voice. You're not bound by simply adding grit when you are really loud. It's not a product of straining. It's a product of being strategic and applying distortion, again, as I said earlier, as a knob, as something that you're laying over the top of your clean, healthy voice. Oh, it's just so perfectly dialed in. It sounds so great. You hear that little sheen I'm talking about on those high notes? peace. I don't think I could be enjoying this anymore unless Chester were actually singing. They're just taking such care, and her performance and the whole band's attitude. It's just so refreshing and life-giving to witness what's happening right now.
Got in mind a designer's rhyme to explain time. All I know, time is a valuable thing. Watch it fly by as the pendulum swings. Watch it count down to the end of the day. The clock takes life away. So
Mike exudes joy and humility and just a genuine happiness to be there and do what he's doing and a gratefulness. I said this before. I love his attitude and his disposition. I've always loved it, but you really see it in this context even more so, I think.
kept everything inside, and even though I tried, it all fell apart.
Once they start doing newer original stuff that's centered around her strengths as a vocalist, more magic's gonna happen.
I put my trust in you.
Do you hear how on Trust? Listen to what she does on Trust.
My trust.
The trust. There's this truncating of it. Puts her own attitude in it. A little bit more grit at the end. Those are the little flares I'm talking about that I think we're just going to see more of that, and it's going to be beautiful.
The way I did before. Don't turn your back on me. I won't be ignored. I won't tell this damage.
You hear her getting ahead of the tempo there?
I can't bear the way I did before. Don't turn your back on me. I won't be ignored.
It's hard. Maybe she can't hear the band much, or just anticipating that beat too much. There's nothing that throws off a groove like the singer rushing.
Hear me out now. You wanna listen to me like it or not right now.
You hear how much of her own voice is in there, right? Her primary chords are absolutely engaged. This is not your typical voiceless scream. This is very engaged with her characteristics of her voice. I love it. I love that they found someone that was doing this style, because that's what Chester did. This is exactly what Chester did.
I won't be ignored.
Yeah. Even when there's not a note that she's singing, there's still a pitch. That's the key to beautiful, honestly, beautiful Chester screams, and she's doing it so well in her own way here. It's not as simple as just classifying these screams as, oh, that's a fry scream, or that's a false chord scream, or there's a careful blend of techniques in order to get what's happening here. It's not just shouting either. Yes. Their blend is so good. It is so good. Oh, yeah. Oh. And that sigh out of that, just the grit at the very end, and she kept it so clean for so long. Pro. I really like her voice. I really do. Not just because she's singing Linkin Park songs. Mike, and even the stuff that if you follow his channel at all, he's just got such a gracious producer mind. He knows how to take vocalists with natural talent and uniqueness and put them in settings that they thrive and thrive and thrive. What Chester did, with Grey Days and then the role he ended up assuming in Linkin Park, that just shows, and now in this new chapter, it just shows Mike's ability to uphold true talent.
I beat it out, digging deeper just to throw it away. I beat it out, digging deeper just to throw it away.
The fact that she's still going in such wonderful fashion nearly 2 hours later on a live show, her first full thing like this with the band, shows just how good her technique is. Many compliments. Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's more of that, like she would do that. It's like her own character coming out there. I love those little glimpses. Yeah. Oh, what a cool experience. I've done lots of videos on Chester on this channel and analyzing his voice, and had guests on like Andy Sizek from Monuments to analyze his voice, and it's just so cool to see this new chapter.